Moving ahead, we will move into our public board meeting. Good afternoon. This board meeting of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and its component units is now being called to order. Today's in-person meeting is also being held virtually via teleconference with the proceedings live streamed to the Port Authority website. Earlier today, the Committee on Operations and Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management met in public session. The reports will be filed with the official minutes of today's board meeting. The Commissioners also met in executive session earlier today to discuss matters related to security or public safety, matters related to the purchase, sale, or lease or real property, where disclosure would affect the value thereof or the public interest, matters involving personnel or personnel procedures, and matters involving ongoing negotiations or reviews of contracts or proposals. First order of business, we're going to hear from our Executive Director, Rick Cotton. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This month has been a busy one for the Port Authority. Before I turn to my report, I'd like to express, as I usually do, our gratitude to the employees of the agency who continue to allow us to move the region forward and without whom, obviously, we would be unable to accomplish our work. I'd also like to express our continued gratitude to the two-thirds of the workforce that are represented and to the leaders of the 23 unions that represent them. Thank you. First, I'd like to turn to the operating volumes of our facilities. At the airports in April, our three major airports continued to set new records. Region-wide, April passenger volumes reached 12.2 million passengers, with 4.2 million international passengers, setting a new international passenger record for April. At the port, in April, our seaports handled more than 17% more cargo than pre-COVID April 2019, and is up 1% over last month. That fairly extraordinary increase was due in part to cargo that was rerouted due to the Baltimore Key Bridge tragedy. The seaport handled this high volume with no congestion and no delays. The port maintained its status as the number 2 port in the country with respect to loaded cargo. At our bridges and tunnels, the 4 bridges and 2 tunnels continue to show strong volumes in April 2024, with levels at or exceeding 2019 volumes. Cars and trucks continue to meet or exceed pre-pandemic levels, with spring in full swing and summer travel approaching. In April, path ridership was at 2/3 of pre-COVID 2019 volumes. Ridership hit this level in late 2023 and has held steady throughout 2024. Weekend ridership continues to be extremely strong and has reached at this point 92% of 2019 levels, and Sunday ridership, similar to last month, actually exceeded 2019 levels by 1%. So the weekend travel on path, extremely strong. I also want to bring to the board's attention recognitions that the Port Authority has received. On May 13th, the New Jersey State Senate passed a Senate resolution recognizing Newark Liberty International Airport's Terminal A as a recipient of a Skytrax 5-star rating. The Senate resolution also recognized the employees of the Port Authority who have made Terminal A possible. On the same day, the Port Authority was awarded the Transportation Achievement of the Year on behalf of the Newark Regional Business Partnership. Both honors display the agency's commitment to build world-class facilities. Additionally, in Washington, D.C. last week, the agency projects were honored at the American Council of Engineering Companies' annual Excellence in Engineering Awards Gala. Notably, the new Newark Terminal A was the recipient of one of 8 Grand Honor Awards nationwide for excellence in engineering, adding to the long list of awards that the new terminal has now received. I also want to offer one very brief comment on the Red Hook-Howland Hook agreement, which the board will consider shortly. On Tuesday, May 14th, as the board is aware, the Port Authority was joined by Governor Kathy Hochul and Mayor Eric Adams to announce an agreement between the City of New York, the State of New York, and the Port Authority to exchange the Port Authority's property interests on the Brooklyn waterfront and receive in return the city's property interests in Howland Hook. Moving this transaction forward achieves a way forward that has eluded us collectively for 4 decades. I commend this item to the board as a major achievement. Also want to note for the board the fact that the JFK transformation construction is moving forward at a great speed. But this week, the Port Authority hosted a press briefing about potential car traffic congestion at JFK due to the combination of the ongoing construction and the record passenger volumes that our airports are experiencing. The JFK redevelopment is currently in a particularly heavy construction period, probably the heaviest that will occur over the duration of the project. At the press event, we highlighted the aggressive traffic management initiatives that are being rolled out, including our 24/7 Airport Operations Center, information related to traffic and parking impacts, as well as our proactive traffic management and communication strategies are being vigorously implemented. The extraordinary large construction will lead to a world-class JFK airport. We have apologized to the public for any inconvenience they may suffer as a result of that connection, but we strongly believe the world-class JFK that we will build will be worth the inconvenience. A separate briefing on the JFK roadway construction was given to the JFK Redevelopment Community Advisory Council, with whom we continue to work closely. And finally, I would like to take note for the board's benefit the fact that the PATH Tap and Go system is now available at all stations in New Jersey and in New York. We were delighted to make that announcement earlier this week. The modern contactless system allows riders to use their contactless debit or credit cards or digital wallets or phones at tap-enabled turnstiles. With that, Mr. Chairman, I conclude my report.
Thank you very much, Executive Director. A lot going on, Rick? Seems like a lot's going on. So that Monday you talked about, you had to be in Newark, we had to be in Trenton. We had to flip a coin as to where we're going to be to receive those awards, which I thought was really cool. To the point of the New Jersey Senate giving a resolution, which is extraordinarily rare. All of the years in the legislature, I don't remember it ever happening before. We were called down as a body to be saluted and celebrated the Port Authority in itself. I was happy to see Commissioners Helmy and Kelly join as we received this award from the Senate President, unanimously approved by the entire Senate. Each of us have received a copy of this, so that copy in front of you is to be, I know the Jersey folks will treasure it and probably frame it. I'm hoping the New York folks do it as well, because it's pretty special. Commissioner Cohen is going to take the opportunity just to read a couple lines in that proclamation to talk about the depth of and the scope of that resolution.
Happy to do so. It is, as the chair said, a proclamation from the Senate of the State of New Jersey, which begins, whereas Newark Liberty International Airport's Terminal A has been awarded a prestigious 5-star rating from the preeminent global airport evaluation firm Skytrax. And the Senate of the State of New Jersey is pleased to congratulate all those who have contributed to this most felicitous outcome, a designation shared by only 3 airports or terminals in North America, 2 of which, Newark's Liberty Terminal A and LaGuardia's Terminal B, fall under the auspices of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. It goes on to say, whereas the award-winning 1 million square foot Newark Liberty Terminal, which secured LEED Gold certification from the United States Green Building Council and earned acclaim as the 2023 Project of the Year by the American Society of Civil Engineers in New Jersey, features state-of-the-art passenger amenities, local airport artwork, a child's play space, dozens of dining and retail options, and a sensory room for that offers neurodivergent travelers and their families a calm space away from the airport hustle and bustle. It goes on to say that the legislature also acknowledges the industrious and loyal employees of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, a remarkable assemblage of determined individuals who have supported and advanced this historic New Jersey infrastructure project. And it goes on to say that this House hereby salutes the leaders of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and Munich's airport, and pays tribute to their outstanding accomplishment and extends sincere best wishes for the continued vigor of Terminal A.
And it lists all the commissioners, New York and New Jersey.
Yes, modesty prohibited me from mentioning that we appear by name, even those of us who happen to reside on, from your perspective, the wrong side of the Hudson.
I did not say that. Commissioner Cullen, thank you very much for that. It's really a rare treat. Like I said, for the commissioners who are not here, Jim will have a copy of the resolution. Please take it home and put it on the wall or someplace appropriate. Rick's point about thanking the employees, he starts his report. It's something we are aware of more and more every day. It is really the employees that make this place work. We had, a few weeks ago, we had the State of the Port address, which used to be an annual event years ago, and because of COVID, we had to kind of get out of it. It's an opportunity for senior staff, Rick, myself, and others to sit across the table in a very large table with 400 to 800 of our employees, and first of all, have coffee and talk to them about what's going on, and then have a presentation of what's happening in the Port Authority, and then our favorite part is Rick and I get to have a Q&A that all the employees get to ask some really cool questions about pay increases and working conditions and other things. But I will tell you, it's one of my favorite parts of the job is going to the State of the Port, is to see the greatness and the resolve of the Port Authority employees, to interact with them, to have conversations with them, see how they're doing face to face, because you're tired of seeing the Zoom thing, and connecting with them in their human flesh and saying, how are you? How's the family doing? What's going on? Talk about some of the initiatives. So we put that together. Actually, Rick and senior staff put that together. And we've tried to put together a compilation of 4 or 5 minutes on a video. If we could just go to the video. If you haven't seen it, just sit back for a few minutes and take a look at what we all got to experience in person.
We are thrilled to be here this morning to see so many of you in person and virtually. We are particularly excited to commemorate the agency's 103rd birthday. But most importantly, we come together to celebrate you, the Port Authority.
When I went upstairs, I was talking to some of the employees, and I just love this opportunity to meet and greet employees, young and old, folks who have been here 6 months to 26 years, talking about what they're doing, talk about the energy of the Port Authority. I look around this room, we talk to our employees, our friends, our colleagues. Guess what? We're ordinary people. But you know what we do in the Port Authority? Extraordinary things. Together, we do extraordinary things. We've been doing it for 103 years. Extraordinary things with people just like you. And I will tell you, I've been doing this chair thing for, I guess, 7 years now. Every day is an adventure. Every day is a joy. Every day is a challenge. And the reason it is because the people out there, the amazing 8,000 employees that work here.
Chairman has been very eloquent in saying thank you in terms of recognizing whether it's ordinary people doing extraordinary things or extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. I actually think this gathering is really at an enormously opportune time because the Port Authority is really doing extraordinary things. And I hope, he said, be proud. And I really, really, really hope you are proud. I'll start out by saying the state of the Port Authority is strong. In fact, it is remarkably and extraordinarily strong. If we look back at the last year, it's hard not to start with the airports. But the importance is the agency has accomplished in terms of Terminal A at Newark and LaGuardia and JFK is coming. Not only the delivery of extraordinary infrastructure, but recognition that is extraordinary in a way that not only this agency has not received before. There's not another authority in this country that has received the kind of recognition for the airports that this agency has received. And the point there is twofold. It's, yes, the delivery of those pieces of extraordinary infrastructure, but it says what our standards are. They really, really, really are world-class, best in class.
Earlier this month, you might have heard that Newark Terminal A was named the world's best new airport terminal. On its own merit, that 5-star rating would be amazing enough. But when you think about it and put it in context, there are roughly 600 commercial airports in North America, and exactly 3 have achieved the 5-star rating from Skytrax. Newark is one of them. LaGuardia is one of them. And so no pressure, JFK, but we're looking at you to deliver after your redevelopment program is done.
A few years ago, our leadership challenged us to embrace a vision of doing more, of being more, a vision of being world-class. So we set a course to be a world-class operator of world-class airports.
So how are we going to do this? We need to grow the talent that exists here within the agency, creating equitable opportunities for all employees to build new skills and advance. We also need to turn our attention to the workforce of the future. We'll do this by focusing on external recruitment at the entry level, and we'll achieve this through building partnerships with the programs and schools in our local communities.
We achieved a New York State record, $2.2 billion in minority and women business participation.
Let me ask this question. Who here is proud to be a Port Authority employee? I want you to stand if you're proud to be a Port Authority employee. I want you to stand if you're proud to be a Port Authority employee. And I want you to clap if you're proud to be a Port Authority employee. I want you to clap if you're proud to be a Port Authority employee. I want you to clap if you're proud to be a Port Authority employee.
Have suggestions, forward them to us. Use the EBRGs, use HR, use your manager. We recognize that the agency ought to be providing support, and that's what we'll do.
But the joy to interact with you, I mean this, the employees make it worth it to me. The employees make it worthwhile to me. And Rick and I are going to be here, just so we're clear, as long as we have the support of the employees, doing stuff we love to do in the place we love, the place we call the Port Authority.
I would ask my fellow, Alicia, thank you for that. I'd ask my fellow commissioners to stand and give a round of applause, standing ovation to our employees. Rick? Thank you. Alicia, you jumped the gun there. Appreciate it. A lot of fun. Moving along here. Our next order of business. We're going to hear from our Chief Development Officer, Derek Utter, and our Port Director, Beth Rooney, who will present an item for the Board's consideration that would authorize agreements with the City and State of New York and New York Economic Development Corporation to exchange the Port Authority's property interest at the Brooklyn Port Authority Marine Terminal for the city's property interest in the Howland Hook Marine Terminal. And we're going to defer voting on this matter until after the speakers have had their say. Derek and Beth, microphone is yours.
Great, thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'll start off and then let Beth jump in. So the Brooklyn Port Authority Marine Terminal, which we also call sometimes Red Hook because it includes the Red Hook Container Terminal, has a long history and has been challenged to become a major container terminal despite coordinated efforts that go back to 1979 between the Port Authority, New York City, and New York State, which formed a tri-party agreement in 1979 to try to revitalize the terminal. But given its location, which Beth will go into in a moment, the site has had some fundamental shortcomings to become a major international container terminal. Today, Red Hook only accounts for about 1% of the Port Authority's container volume across the two states. And about half of that container volume actually gets barged back to New Jersey side. In addition, this particular site pays no rent to the Port Authority, and that's very unique. All the other container terminals do because as they generate profits. The transaction that we were proposing that we had announced 9 days ago would create a new path forward by exchanging the Port Authority's interest in Red Hook for the New York City interest in Howland Hook, Staten Island. So at Red Hook, New York City's Economic Development Corporation, EDC, would take control of a 120-plus acre site in Brooklyn, and they would undertake a community-led effort to transform the Brooklyn waterfront into a modern maritime port, which has a vibrant mixed-use community hub. The Port Authority will consolidate its control at Howland Hook in Staten Island. There are 345 acres, of which 225 acres are owned by New York City. The other 120 is owned by the Port Authority. And that has a great future, we believe, as a major international container terminal consistent with our core mission. So in the coming weeks, New York City EDC and the Port Authority plan to execute leases and associated agreements to allow each side to assume such control. And today we are seeking the board's approval for the transaction. I'll now hand it off to Beth to go through some of the specifics.
Great. Thank you, Derek. So just to orient, in the upper right-hand corner on the Brooklyn, New York side is the Red Hook Container Terminal. And then on the lower left-hand side in the northwest corner of Staten Island is the Howland Hook Marine Terminal. A little bit further detail about the Brooklyn Marine Terminal, total of 124 acres, stretching from Atlantic Avenue to the north, where Pier 7 is in yellow, down to Pier 12, which is the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal today. All told, those 124 acres, about 60 of them are the Red Hook Container Terminal. 30 are used by New York City Economic Development Corporation already today for the cruise terminal and their Home Port 2 location for their ferry services. The remaining is a combination of General Services Administration and 2 beverage warehouses. As Derek said, about 1% of our volume moves through the Red Hook Container Terminal today, and it is fundamentally flawed in that to be a large international container terminal, in that there is no railway access. Roadway access is limited. There is already significant congestion on the roadways. There's limited upland space, as you can see. The terminal is long but relatively narrow. And then finally, the terminal runs adjacent to Governor's Island, and that channel, Buttermilk Channel, is limited in terms of the size of the container ships that are able to be handled. And as you know, container ships are getting larger, not smaller, calling the Port of New York and New Jersey. Moving over to the Staten Island facility, a total of 345 acres in the northwest corner of Staten Island. Today, 225 acres of it is owned by the City of New York, Port Authority owning the remaining 120 acres. As was approved by the board in April, we were able to lease a large portion of this out to the French ocean carrier CMA CGM through 2047. The opportunity that this property switch essentially gives to us is it will help support and leverage the investment of $200 million that CMA CGM has already committed to make, and they're going to nearly double the capacity of the terminal. And more importantly, it provides the Port Authority with a strategic opportunity to further develop the underdeveloped land there without having to go to the City of New York for permission. We will have the opportunity to do that on our own. As we said, the transaction overall consolidates the consolidates the ownership of the Red Hook properties and eliminates the 3-party decision-making in all of the transactions. In doing so, it clears the way for New York City to develop Red Hook in support of mixed uses, among them modern maritime uses, looking to develop the Blue Highway, sometimes known as short sea shipping, in which goods could be transferred over the water, domestic goods could be transferred over the water among the 5 boroughs. And then they would also like to develop some small package delivery, micro distribution and logistics. There would be community benefits available, perhaps some housing and other open space. And again, us having access to all of Howland Hook gives us the ability to support wholly and individually our core mission and build out the capacity that was originally envisioned in our Port Master Plan 2050. As part of this transaction, the City of New York has agreed and will embark on a very robust and inclusive community engagement process. There will be a task force created that will be chaired by Representative Dan Goldman and co-chaired by State Senator Gennardis and New York City Councilwoman Aviles. That process will kick off later this summer and will include local residents, other elected officials, industry, waterfront stakeholders, environmental justice folks, the waterfront and workforce development, and many, many others. New York City Economic Development has already engaged with a community engagement firm, and they will be engaging with an urban design firm. And we, of course, on the Staten Island side, will continue our community engagement with the elected officials there. So today, this afternoon, Commissioners, we request your authorization to approve a memorandum of understanding with New York City, New York State, and New York City Economic Development Corporation, and that you further authorize the Executive Director to enter into various agreements for the exchange of ownership interests in the Brooklyn Port Authority Marine Terminal and the Howland Hook Marine Terminal. That's all, sir.
That's it. Any questions or comments? Okay, we're going to wait for our public vote after our public comment period. Thank you, Beth Ann. Now we're going to provide an opportunity for the members of the public to comment on Port Authority matters. This public comment period, which might be limited to 30 minutes in total, might be a little longer today, provides an opportunity for members of the public to present their views directly to the board, but does not provide for a dialogue. If you have a specific question, we will direct you to the appropriate staff, Port Authority staffs, and you can contact our Public Affairs Department to find out who that staff member would be. Speakers are asked to comply with the fixed time of limiting themselves to 3 minutes. We have 25 people lined up to speak. I think a lot of them, majority of them, are going to speak on the same issue, I suspect. And we're going to try to streamline this as much as possible. So let's start with the first one. And we'll go 3 minutes. If it gets too long and too cumbersome, then we're going to probably cut it down to 2 minutes. Tanyina Reynolds. I'm sorry if I screwed up your first name. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Great, thanks.
Good afternoon, members of the Port Authority Board. It's nice to meet you all today. My name is Tangerina Reynolds. I have worked as a cabin lead at Newark International Airport and been a proud member of 32BJ SEIU for 2 years. As a cabin lead, I am in charge of a team that ensures airplanes are safe, clean, and ready for takeoff. As I am sure you know, we have to clean and inspect the airplanes on a tight schedule. It is a tough job, but it's an important one. We are the reason that flights at EWR stay on schedule and depart on time. In other words, we make sure that this massive transit hub runs smoothly and that the passengers get to their destinations on schedule. Today, I want to speak to you about the need to raise the wage for workers like me. Back in 2018, the Port Authority made the huge decision to improve the wage standards of airport service workers like me, and I want to thank you for that because it certainly had a big impact on my life. I was not working at EWR at the time, but I can tell you that as a single mother looking for a job in 2022, I was attracted to a $17 minimum wage with scheduled increases. That wage meant financial stability for my family. Now my union brothers and sisters and I need the Port Authority to lead once again, because $19 an hour isn't enough to keep up the increased cost of living in 2024. Workers like me have seen our rent, bills, groceries, and the price of just about everything else a person needs to get by constantly increase. And I'm a single mom living in Newark paying $1,100 a month in rent, not including utilities. So trust me, I feel the rising cost of living every day. I take 2 buses just to get to work and spend $11 a day. And then there's groceries, which are really important when you work at the airport because you almost always want to bring your lunch to avoid those airport prices for food. But even if you do bring your lunch, groceries are not that cheap either. I end up spending $500 a month on my groceries. Bottom line, we need a wage that let us live comfortably. I know the Port Authority has been a true leader in investing in the workforce at the airports as well. And I know your leadership will continue this year by increasing the port minimum with a new multi-year standard and guarantee parity in the health insurance, vacation, and holiday standards between New York and New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the special work you do. Raj Kumara? Raj Kumara? Come on down. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning. My name is Raj Kumari Maharaj, and I've been an airport worker for over 9 years. A proud S32BJ SERU member for about 8 years. I am a lead for wheelchair agent at Terminal 5 and also a shop steward. First, I would like to express my gratitude to you all for passing the wage increase in 2018. This have made a huge impact in my life, which I appreciated. My job comes with a lot of responsibilities. I know that passengers' experience doesn't start when boarding a plane, but actually starts with the hours we put in every day before and after takeoff. Caring for customers is what we do, and we need someone to take care of us. Many of us have long commute to work and have family members in our countries of origin that we need to support and we missed. Without meaningful paid time off, this burden becomes nearly impossible to manage. Without better wages, our bank account gets drained from the rising cost of living, including food and transportation to work. During my time at JFK, I have seen many changes. One includes a few years ago when my company and when our co-workers were transitioned from one subcontractor to another, most of us were not paid our unused paid time off. That's a disgrace. That's a lot of money we could have helped with our families or even had an effect on our daily cost of living. I know my fellow workers in New Jersey have vacation, health benefits, and holiday pay that assures that the standard that they have will not lose paid time off during a contractor transition. These are the type of injustice we hope the Port Authority will correct. But you have done it before, and we are counting on you again. Mandatory and meaningful paid time off, a higher minimum wage, and health benefit is what we are asking for. This is what we rightly deserve. When you are making only $19 an hour and living paycheck to paycheck, every dollar counts. Paid time off with an increase in minimum wage and healthcare would be a game changer. We do our jobs and contribute to the well-being of the airport. We hope you will continue your role as leaders to support us and ensure that we get the benefit that we rightly deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sophia Harris. Sophia Harris.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Sophia Harris. I have been working as a cargo agent for a contractor that services American Airlines for 7 years. While I'm the person speaking here, my voice really represents a chorus of thousands of airport workers just like me. We take great pride in helping make the country's biggest airport hub the best. Workers at JFK and LaGuardia are the heart and soul of the aviation transportation industry, which is a key economic driver for New York. When you look up and see a plane and that just took off, or one coming in for landing, we know that the quality, safety, and security of the traveler experiences depend on the work we do on the ground. As a cargo agent, it's my job to ensure that all the data of the freight is properly inputted with custom. It's a very detail-oriented job, but it's very important because it ensures that JFK remains the massive economic and transit hub it needs to be. And I know from experience that the Port of Authority understands the contribution that workers like me make. I remember that incredible day in 2018 when the Port of Authority raised our wages. I felt the impact of that decision immediately. It meant that I could finally keep up with my rent, bills, groceries, and so much more. It was a game changer. I also remember when the Healthy Terminal Act passed in New York in 2020, providing New York City workers with a fixed rate for health care. When I first started working in 2017, I had to pay almost $250 a month for the health insurance that was offered by my company. But that was incredibly hard. I was making only $13 per hour. For every doctor visit and copay, I was struggling to get by. The Healthy Terminal Act meant that I could see the doctor without worrying that I would have to empty my bank account. Our 30BJ union takes that legislation and transform it into a quality, fully paid health care insurance. It's our union, 32BJ, we now have a quality health benefit. But without the mandate increase for the hourly health care supplement, soon we won't be able to be qualified for the fully employed paid health insurance my coworker and I rely on.
Thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
James Parrott. James, we really want to hold everybody to the 3-minute minimum. We have a lot of speakers to go. Yannette Lathorpe. Yannette. Ready? Carla Walter.
My name is Yannette Lathrop. I am a senior researcher for the National Employment Law Project, or NELP. NELP is an advocacy organization with a mission to build a just and inclusive economy where all workers have expansive rights and thrive in good jobs. The current airport wage floor of $19 per hour, which the Port Authority adopted in 2018, is not enough to live on, especially when many workers receive no benefit supplement. The New York metropolitan area is one of the most expensive in the country, where a single adult needs at least $28 per hour to be able to afford rent, food, and other basics. The living wage rises significantly when workers have one or more children to support. Low compensation is associated with high labor turnover. When workers can get health insurance and better pay at another job, they will take those other jobs, especially if they come with fewer safety hazards and commuting costs than working at the airport. High rates of turnover can be harmful, especially in airports where the safety of crew and passengers depends on an experienced and well-trained workforce. Research finds that high rates of turnover and less on-the-job experience can lead to more mistakes, more accidents, and overlooked hazards. It is not only good wages, but also good benefits that lead to longer tenures and attract new recruits into the industry. In a post-pandemic world, the two most important benefits are health insurance and paid time off, especially for a workforce that weathered the front lines of COVID-19. This is why we're calling on the Port Authority to not only require $1 annual scheduled wage increases, but also to ensure the workers across all 3 airports have access to adequate health insurance and competitive paid leave. In the absence of an airports-wide health insurance requirement, many airport workers excluded from New York's Healthy Terminals Act do not receive a health insurance supplement. Meanwhile, workers who are currently covered by the HTA are at an increased risk of losing their insurance because the contribution rate has not increased since the law was adopted 4 years ago. Last year alone, the cost of premiums rose by 7%. Port Authority can fix this and create parity between New York and New Jersey by extending the benefits rate that Newark airports already receive to all 3 airports. Airport workers in New York benefit from a health insurance policy that has risen to reflect the increasing cost of health care in keeping with the Federal Service Contract Act. New York workers also benefit from a more generous paid leave policy that follows the Service Contract Act, while workers at JFK and LaGuardia are guaranteed only 40 to 56 hours of paid sick leave as required by New York City and the state, plus MLK Day as a holiday. To address this disparity, the Port Authority must mandate uniform health insurance and paid leave policies across all 3 airports, and these policies must follow the minimum requirements set by the Service Contract Act. A universal requirement for employer-provided health care covering tens of thousands of airport workers can decrease public spending in both states while uplifting a majority Black and Latino workforce. Thank you.
Carla Walter. Carla, is Carla here? Okay, no. Jacqueline Guilty. Is Jacqueline here? Jacqueline? Patrick Jean is up next, and then Ashley Williams. So let's get prepared. Thanks.
Good afternoon, Board of Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
My name is Jacqueline Guiti. I work at OTG Newark Airport location for the last 6 years. I'm making $90 per hour. I'm a single mother of 4 children and a proud member of Unite Here Local 100. During the last few years, rent has increased for myself and coworkers. It's impossible to survive on $19 per hour. Today I am speaking to you because $19 isn't enough to keep up with the increased cost of living. My coworkers and I are asking Port Authority to raise the minimum wage for airport workers with a multi-year standard and guarantee parity in health insurance, vacation, and holiday standards for New York and New Jersey. We all know that while the Healthy Terminal Act benefits concession workers, this isn't the case for our brothers and sisters at JFK and LaGuardia airports. We need a wage that allows us to live comfortable. Workers like myself have seen our rent, bills, our groceries, and the price of just about almost everything a person needs to get by. It rises and it continues to rise. Commissioners, we need wage increases to raise standards for workers in New York and New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Patrick? And Ashley Williams is next. Welcome, Patrick.
Good afternoon, Board of Commissioners. My name is Patrick Jean. I work at the Sky Chef JFK as a driver. I'm a proud member of the Unite Here Local 100 and a leader in my workplace. We have seen how rent and cost of living have drastically increased. On average, for a single person, the cost of living is $4,130 per month, let alone a family of 4, where the average is $8,925 per month. This leaves most of my coworkers seeking a second job. Board of Commissioners, today, I am speaking to you because we urgently need the Port Authority to raise the minimum wages for the airport workers with a multi-year standard and guarantee parity in health insurance, vacations, and holiday standard for New York and New Jersey. We all know that while the Healthy Terminal Act across the river benefits the concessions workers, that is unfortunately not the case for the concession workers at LaGuardia and the JFK airports. We need a wage that let us live comfortably. Workers like me have seen our rent, bills, groceries, and the price, just about everything else in a person need to get by, to go up and up. Commissioners, we need wages increase to raise standards for the airport workers in New York and New Jersey. One job should be enough. Thank you, gracias, and merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Ashley Williams? We could just ask everyone to turn their phones off so that there's no vibration. That'd be great. Thanks.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ashley.
My name is Ashley Williams. I work at OTG LGA as a cook. I am a proud member of Unite Here, Local 100. My story is no different from any of my other coworkers. We are all struggling for the fact and the cost of living of 2024 is increasing and the rent prices have exploded. Board of Commissioners, today I'm speaking to you because I urgently need the Port Authority to raise minimum wage for airport workers. With the multi-year standard and guaranteed parity in health insurance, vacation, and holiday standard for New York and New Jersey. We all know why the Health Terminal Act across the river benefits concession workers. Unfortunately, that isn't the case for the concession workers like myself at LaGuardia and JFK Airport. We need a wage that let us live comfortably. Workers like myself have seen our bills, groceries, and prices of just about everything increase and go up and up. Commissioners, we need your help. We need wages increases to raise standards for airport workers in New York and New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you. Tiffany Ann Taylor? Good afternoon, Tiffany.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Tiffany Ann Taylor, and I'm the Vice President for Transportation at the Regional Plan Association, a 100-plus-year-old civic organization working toward a more resilient New York City metropolitan region. I'm here to testify today on behalf of RPA in support of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Port Authority and the New York City Economic Development Corporation to exchange ownership of the Brooklyn Port Marine Terminal and Howland Hook Marine Terminal. As someone who has previously worked for the City of New York in freight and passenger transportation policy and economic development, I am pleased to offer support for the approval of this memorandum and the implementation of this project. RPA is particularly excited to see the city take on complete ownership of the Red Hook Container Terminal. This exchange further underscores the city's commitment to investing in freight infrastructure and sustainable goods movement. As a regional entity, we recognize that investing in Red Hook isn't just about bolstering a single terminal, it's about investing in the future resilience and prosperity of our city and region. Approximately every 25 years, RPA releases a regional plan to help guide the growth and development of the tri-state metropolitan region. In our fourth regional plan, released in 2017, RPA recommended closing the outdated facility and consolidating its infrastructure into other ports in New York and New Jersey and Staten Island. At the time, that seemed to be the most logical solution, while still aligning with our recommendations to reduce truck congestion and create more space for urban parks, housing, and commercial space. However, with the impacts of the pandemic, the implementation of the soon-to-be successful congestion pricing program, and the slow transition to more sustainable transportation options to meet local climate goals, we now recognize Red Hook's substantial contribution to regional goods movement and its necessity. We enthusiastically support creative solutions like this MOU to accommodate future economic development and preservation of the working waterfront. This is undoubtedly the right path forward. The Port Authority assuming control of Howland Hook is also a win for our region. Combined with the $200 million investment from the terminal's operator, the site will be transformed with modern facilities and expanded capacity, which will allow for more sustainable goods movement in our region. The operator has also committed to contracting goals for MWBED businesses, and to maximize the use of locally owned businesses. Howland Hook and Red Hook are important elements of the ecosystem of ports in New York and New Jersey. This partnership is a massive step forward in improving the quality and efficiency of our container ports and doing so in an environmentally sound way to keep up with the global commerce patterns. As this project moves forward, RPA welcomes the opportunity to participate in the planning and community engagement process. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Much appreciated. Charles Mitchell? Charles? Tucker? Is Tucker here? Robert Acevedo? Deborah's here. Yes.
Good afternoon. I have one thing to say that's maybe not, I'm freezing. I just want you to know, your air conditioning is really great, but a little too strong. Sorry, I had to bring that up because because if you start seeing me going like this, you'll know why, okay? It's not anger, it's cold.
Got it.
What I'm really, as you see,
Rizwan, can you check
my
the
button?
AC, please? I'm just asking our engineer to check the AC later.
Please, because
It is cold, I agree with you.
I agree. Because I don't want you to think like I'm here, I'm angry. I'm cold.
Got it.
That's why I brought this up and put it on public record. Okay. As you see, Mr. Greif, my dear child, made sure I wore this button, as you know, because my nickname is Omni Woman because I did all the, the filming for the training. I'm also now proud tester for the accessori for Omni. As you see, they actually have my picture on. I don't like it because I look like I died, but that's okay. That means I'm really disabled. I'm really happy to hear that you have your tapless system. I hope that you'll still be agree to work with Omni from New York City, MTA, and the reduced fare people, especially Mr. Reginald Barron, who's a wonderful person who has helped many of us get our reduced fare cards. Yes, I'm under his leadership to do the testing. It's a pleasure to use the Omni. Also, what's great now on the accessoride is that the driver doesn't have to worry about giving me change because it's now $2.90. So we usually give them 3 singles and they have to give us a dime. So now because I book through Omni, or Christopher does for me, he's my PCA, what happens is I don't have to get the gentleman money or the lady. When I get off, then they push the button and boom, I've paid and it comes out of my account. I hope we can work a reciprocal program so that there are people who, like myself, who want to use PATH, reduced fare, as well as any of the Port Authority buses. Actually, the Port Authority buses usually let me on reduced fare because I show them all my reduced cards. I also really hope that we can work together as a team because we have so many people also with disabilities who are also low income who want to work and may work either in New Jersey or New York and live in either state. So let's work together to make sure everything goes well. And also, as you're fixing the terminals at Kennedy Airport, can you please make sure there's a lot of accessory bus stops, please, and help the accessory drivers get through because they help the city buses, but please also help the accessory so that we can get to, if we need to go to our airplane and pick up somebody on time, we'd appreciate the help. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate you coming in. Anna Menino? Anna? Jason?
Good afternoon, Kevin. Good afternoon, Rick. I have some news flash for you guys. As Debbie mentioned, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, better known as the MTA, announced this past Monday announcements regarding Omni, and I'm not saying it because I'm not saying it. I bought the board book. Something that I wish for the future you guys do things correctly, because we know that you guys are a bi-state agency. This is why I call you guys the Port Unauthorized. Because I know that you guys brag about New Jersey, but what about New York? Because, again, you guys gave me a slap on the face regarding Newark. I don't travel by Newark. I travel by JFK. And you guys, do me a favor. Give us the air train for free because we know Memorial Day is around the corner. And we don't want traffic nightmares like you guys did a couple of years ago in LaGuardia. That is still a traffic nightmare. And again, I was at Jamaica Air Train Station this past Thursday, and I saw this. I'm not lying. A homeless person sleeping. This is the beginning of it. I'm going to do the Port Authority bus terminal because what I see at the Abraham Lincoln bus terminal is not funny. I'm not joking, folks, because the work that I do for you guys is nothing compared to the work that I do with the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. So, guys, when I come here to this podium, take my word seriously. And please don't offend me when I brag you guys about New Jersey, because the work that they do in New Jersey is very offensive, and I pardon Governor Murphy, but the work that we do here in New Jersey is very serious, and we take it by heart. So if you could take this and give it to them, and I'll see you guys in 2 months.
Thank you, Jason. Murray Bowden.
First thing one has to do with dealing with a problem is to verbalize it. Talk about it openly and freely. I have 2 issues today. One is dementia. I'm dealing with early stages of dementia, and as I talk to other people, we get into very interesting conversations because it's widely around, and everybody's afraid to talk to it because they think it's something bad. It's just the result of whatever. The second thing is I recognize that I've reached almost the end of my career. I'll be 91 next month, and I don't know how much longer I can do this. And so I'm passing the baton to other people because it affects safety and a lot of other things. Each of you sitting there and everyone else here, when you're out driving around, look at the road ahead of you. When the light turns green and the person in front of you doesn't move, you know obviously they're not paying attention. So when they do look up, they need to see consistent, simple information. Those traffic engineers expect you to know that when you look up from texting, that you're going to know the difference between the width of the line. Traffic engineers say, well, if it's a wider line, you're supposed to pay attention. But you know as well as I do, nobody knows that. Kathy Sheridan, when she was chief engineer at a thruway, taught me that consistency is safety. It's very hard because you're dealing with that manual of uniform traffic controls manual. It was out of date, and at the last edition, they took out the warrants, which means look at the problem locally, figure out what's the best for your community, and do it. Just notify us. Make sure it's kind of legal. That's the major change. They recognized that there is flexibility and people think differently in different situations. I've worked on this for 30 years. I have to pass the baton to you. You write newsletters, raise the issue with other people. What do you see? You want to get rid of aggressive drivers? Put a double white line in. They can't cross it. Give them a ticket. This may be my last meeting here. And I want to take, if I may have a couple of extra seconds.
Yes.
To thank all of the people who worked at the Port Authority and over the years listened and took advice where it was appropriate. I could not have done this by myself. I had to have help. A lot of it came from the employees of the Port Authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Murray. Appreciate you coming here. I hope you come back next month for your 91st birthday.
I'd love to come back.
We'd love to see you. All righty, James Fellicos. James. Alrighty, now we have a number of written statements and videos. First one is Congressmember Daniel Goldman.
Good afternoon to my friends of the Port Authority Board of Commissioners. It's Congressman Dan Goldman from New York's 10th Congressional District, which covers the entire Brooklyn Marine Terminal. You have on your agenda today a generational opportunity to reimagine the Brooklyn waterfront and the larger New York harbor. While I and many others are disappointed that the Port Authority failed to invest in the Brooklyn terminal during its ownership of the port, I am pleased that this agreement both enables the city to transform the Brooklyn Marine Terminal into a modern maritime port and vibrant community hub, and that it also presents an opportunity for the Port Authority to invest in the Howland Hook Marine Terminal, potentially creating thousands of good-paying union jobs and increasing international freight traffic on the New York side of the harbor. So I hope you will all vote today for progress, and I look forward to working with all of you in the months and years ahead. Thank you.
Next video is Matthew Butchie Highland.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm Matty W. Bucky's Highland. Today, I want to talk about fare evasion, and I applaud the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey for doing a job on cracking down on fare evasion with our partners at the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, Triborough Bridge and Tunnel Authority, under its leadership of Kathy Sheridan. And I applaud the men and women in the tunnels, bridges, and terminals for doing an excellent job on fare evasion. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Mr. O'Toole, over to you.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it. We have a statement from Staten Island Council President Vito Fasella.
Excuse me, Chairman, there's one more video statement.
I'm sorry.
Yannette Lathrop.
Which one?
Yannette.
Didn't she play already? She played already. She was listed twice. I was trying to be subtle about it.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Vito, do we have a written statement?
I think there's Carla Walter, I think, is a video statement.
Thank you, Commissioners and Board members, for this opportunity to present in support of improving work standards for essential service workers at JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark Liberty airports. My name is Carla Walter. I'm a senior fellow at the Center for American Progress, and I've conducted research on how policymakers can ensure that airport service workers earn decent compensation that maintains their health and well-being while supporting safe and efficient travel. The Port Authority, in partnership with state policymakers, was previously a national leader in advancing high standards for airport service workers, including wage and health benefits. Yet current standards are inconsistent in terms of workers covered and benefits provided, jeopardizing the region's ability to attract and retain a well-qualified workforce. Moreover, regional workers will increasingly struggle to pay for essentials, particularly health care, as the Port Authority wage standard and the New York Health Benefits Supplement fail to keep up with rising costs. The standard falls short of other national leaders. For example, LA, Seattle, and Chicago have all adopted pay standards that rise automatically with increasing costs. San Francisco requires airport employers to provide health care coverage for service workers and their families at no cost. And Philadelphia's airport standard covers concession workers and includes a benefit supplement that increases periodically. Inadequate industry compensation not only harms workers. When workers are poorly compensated, the public bears hidden costs by providing services to supplement poverty wages. Also, coupled with a tight labor market and high turnover, airline and airport employers will fail to maintain a well-qualified workforce, thereby reducing airport safety and security. Research shows that strong airport standards produce good outcomes for the public. A study of the San Francisco airport showed that among security screeners, turnover fell from nearly 95% to 19% after a wage standard was adopted. And prior to adoption of its own standard, the Port of Seattle found that low wages, poor benefits, and other job quality factors were primary drivers of high turnover rates. The link between airport worker wage and benefit standards and public outcomes is long established. A study conducted by the federal government in 2000 found that low wages and high turnover rates among security screeners led to poor performance in detecting dangers. Similarly, a 2007 government report found that low wages and high turnover among ramp and fuel workers contributed to ongoing problems with ramp accidents and aircrafts entering runways without permission. Finally, implementing wage standards helps level the playing field for high-road airport employers. Without strong standards, companies that pay good wages and provide decent benefits can be forced to compete against low-road companies that undercut the market. By adopting best practices that uphold parity across airports, namely that wages and benefits increase with rising costs, supporting universal access to paid leave, and broadening coverage to include more service workers, the Port Authority can help ensure that all airport service workers are fairly compensated, increase aviation workforce stability and experience levels, and thereby promote efficiency and safety in the system. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And then we have three written letters from Vito Forsella, Mike Corsick, and Kara Dorsey. Will be attached to the record. Jim?
Yes. The first two are in support of Port Authority's greater ownership of the Howland Hook Marine Terminal and expanded facilities, and the other is another comment about airport wages and benefits.
Jim, do we have any other videos or written statements?
That is all.
And there's no more public speakers have signed up?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much. We're now going to proceed with voting on the items. Each of the respective committee chairs will provide a brief report prior to the matters being considered today. As chair of the Committee on Operations, I'll now present several items under consideration. The first item is presented earlier today by our Chief Development Officer and Director of Ports, authorizes agreements with the City of New York City Economic Development Corporation, and the State of New York covering the transfer of the Port Authority property interest in the Brooklyn Port Authority Marine Terminal in return for the City of New York transferring its property and interest in the Howland Hook Marine Terminal to the Port Authority. Prior to making a motion, I ask the Corporate Secretary to note any Commissioner recusals.
There are no recusals.
Any questions or comments? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado?
Yes.
All the votes are in order. This item has been approved. The next item is presented to the Committee on Operations earlier today, authorizes a 30-year lease with Stewart Development LLC to develop, finance, and operate and maintain a new corporate jet park facility at New York Stewart International Airport at the aggregate rent of $24.6 million. The leasee will invest a minimum of $60 million to develop the new facility. Prior to making a motion, I ask if there's any recusals.
There are no recusals.
Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado?
Yes.
All the votes are in order. This item has been approved. The next item is presented to the committee. I'm sorry. Hold on. It's a double. Next item authorizes a 10-year lease with the airports, AV Ports, to provide operation and maintenance services to Teterboro airports effective September 1st, 2024, and a 5-year option period exercisable to Port Authority. I'll go back. Prior to making a motion, I ask the Corporate Secretary to note any recusals.
There are no recusals.
Any discussion? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado?
Yes.
Votes are in order. The item has been approved. The last item before I turn it over to Commissioner LaBarbera. The next item is the Committee of Operations reviewed a 30-year lease with Aviation Facilities Management LLC to develop, finance, and operate and maintain a new jet hangar system facility at Newark Stewart at an aggregate rental of $18.7 million. The leasee will invest a minimum of $9 million to develop the new facility. Prior to making a motion, I ask the Corporate Secretary to note any recusals.
There are no recusals required.
Any questions from the commissioners? Comments? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Commissioner Eves, a yes?
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Helmy,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera,
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe,
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado.
Yes.
Votes are in order, and this item has been approved. The next item will be presented by Commissioner LaBarbera, as I am recused on the matter. Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item authorizes a 10-year lease with Hudson Tank Storage Company for the letting of two buildings, Berth 14, and adjacent open area at the Port Newark Marine Terminal, at an aggregate rental of $33.5 million. Hudson Tank will invest a minimum of $2 million in its leasehold and will also be responsible for maintenance of Berth 14. Prior to making a motion on this item, I ask the Corporate Secretary to note any commissioner recusals.
Chairman O'Toole is recused.
Do any commissioners have questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, I now request a motion on this item.
So moved.
Can I have a second on the motion?
Second.
I now request the Corporate Secretary to call the roll for voting on the item.
Commissioner Bolwage,
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner Eve,
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera.
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe,
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado.
Yes.
As the votes are in order, this item is approved. Now I'll turn it back over to Chairman O'Toole.
Thank you, Commissioner LaBarbera. Next item for approval is a collective bargaining agreement for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 3, which represents about 246 Port Authority employees. This agreement, which is for a 26-month term, was ratified by the union members on April 24th, 2024. Prior to making a motion, I ask the Corporate Secretary for any recusals.
There are no recusals.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve,
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera.
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe,
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado.
Yes.
All votes are in order. The motion is approved. The next item approves a collective bargaining agreement with the Lieutenants Benevolent Association, which represents approximately 100 Port Authority police lieutenants. This agreement, which is for a 32-month term, was ratified by the union members on May 13th. Prior to making a motion on this item, I ask the Corporate Secretary for any recusals.
There are no recusals.
Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner Eve,
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera,
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe,
Sorry, yes.
Is a yes.
Commissioner Richardson,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado.
Yes.
All the votes are in order. This item has been approved. Okay, last one, Jim, the detectives. It approves a collective bargaining agreement with the Detectives Endowment Association, which represents approximately 93 Port Authority detectives. This agreement runs for a 32-month period, ratified by the union members May 18th, 2024. Prior to making a motion, I ask the Corporate Secretary to note any recusals.
There are no recusals.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner Eve,
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera,
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe,
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado.
Yes.
As the votes are in order, this item has been approved. As Vice Chair of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, I'll now report on one item. The item which was discussed in the committee earlier today would reauthorize a project to rehabilitate the underside of the George Washington Bridge lower level at a total of $453.4 million, and award of the contract to construct the project. Prior to making a motion on this item, I ask the Corporate Secretary to note any recusals.
There are no recusals.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Request a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage,
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner Eve,
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera,
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe,
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado.
Yes.
As the votes are in order, this item has been approved. Any other business before us? If not, have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor,
Second.
aye?
Aye.
Okay, meeting's adjourned. Everybody have a safe Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see you next month.